Windows 10 is now fully installed in this system. The first thing I'd like to do while the system is still fresh is get into drive C and disable indexing on that drive. Prior to that, let me go ahead and put the icons on the screen. So if I right-click in the background and I click Personalize, Themes, click on that on the left there, and then I click Desktop Icon Settings. I have a list of all of the various icons that can be set to automatically display on the desktop. For now, I will go ahead and click to enable them all to display. What I really want are the computer and the control panel for now, but I'll put the others there just for now. I could always take them off by re-entering this later on. Click Apply, and then OK, and as you can see here, we now have additional icons on our desktop. Let me go ahead and click this PC, which used to be my computer in Windows 7, and I'm going to right-click on Drive C, and then down to Properties, and you see indexing by default is checked right at the very bottom. I'm going to uncheck that, and then I'm going to hit Apply. I like to do this early until a lot of files get installed because it takes a while if the hard drive, Drive C, has a lot of stuff. It's asking for administrator permission. I am the administrator logged in right now, so this is that prompt I mentioned to you earlier. Just double checking with me. It is trying to get this file called a swap file. The swap file allows for the expansion of memory onto the hard drive. I won't go into that in detail here. Unfortunately, that's required when you have a small random access direct memory on the system. This one only has 4 gigabytes, so the swap space should be at least that size. This is something I can check later, but for now I don't want to do anything with the indexing on that file, so I will just say ignore it. And now it's got some other ones, XML. I will go ahead and ignore all, so it knows to skip the ones that the idea of indexing doesn't really apply to them by the way they're used. It takes a little while. Hopefully the system hasn't already kicked into automatic updates. Windows 7, 8, and 10 by default will automatically start downloading updates to Windows operating system once it's been on the network for anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Just took a quick break during this video which might have approached that, so we'll see what happens here, how long this takes. And when we go to do the Windows updates in a few minutes, you'll see if some of them are already in progress or not. While that is going, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of other changes here. If I right-click on the bottom taskbar, there is a thing here called Taskbar Settings. There's a couple of things I like to do in order to make the taskbar a little more usable for me. So we right-click on the taskbar, go into Taskbar Settings, and we can first by unlocking the taskbar. This one here, the people, doesn't bother me too much, but it does make it crowded. So I will turn off the people option. So the little people that was down here a moment ago has now disappeared. Another one to do storage sense. Let me click on settings here. First system, and then storage. I want to turn on storage sense. Storage sense is a very, very useful option within Windows 10. And we can now decide how we want space automatically freed up. The defaults are pretty good, so chances are you wouldn't need to touch them unless you want to have it done more or less often for things like deleting temporary files, whether or not you want the downloads to be deleted at all. I like to set those up. I like to set those up for like 60 days. Because those are the downloads that you didn't go and save somewhere else for some other useful purposes. Okay. think the other thing is still running, so I don't want to do a disk clean right now. Here's one that really should only be a problem if you had network storage called a NAS, network accessible storage. And there's a problem with some NAS devices. They need an option that Windows 10 has turned off by default. So let's go and double check to see if it is turned off or not. So for this one, we need to go to the control panel, which we now have an icon for. I like to change the view as long as we're in here of the control panel. I don't like it by category. I like it by large icons. Makes it easier for me to see what I'm trying to do. Go to Programs and Features for this option. Now, Programs and Features is the same place you would go when you're going to check for garbage software that you might have installed. Sometimes when you install a package, it brings with it some garbage. Some people refer to this bloatware. And if you want to see what that looks like, you would go into the Programs and Features, and you can actually clean that up. So I clicked on Programs and Features, and this shows the installed software as of right now. Not a lot. This is the stuff that looks like we may need, except for OneDrive. I suggest maybe we go back in there once we've got other stuff done and get rid of that. I don't personally find it very useful. It's similar to like having some smart features like Cortana installed. But what I want to do here is under this one, go to Windows, turn Windows features on or off. That's going to open up this little menu here. Checkboxes are available for different features. And if we go down to this one here, it's called SMB1. I'm going to hit the plus sign to expand it. In this case, as was my install of Windows 10 on my last computer, this may change in future builds from Microsoft, but right now it comes disabled. So you have to really enable it all. Basically click the main checkbox and the all check. By doing that, you will actually be able to properly find, when you try to map a network drive to your NAS, that device. You said OK, and now it's making whatever changes it needs to make. I'm not going to restart right now. We'll restart later. We've set the feature and it'll kick in once we do restart. So with that, let me see, is this done? Oh, it is. Good. So now we've turned off, the little checkbox is off, the indexing feature on the hard drive, which uses a lot of extra hard drive just to have that indexing feature present. We'll say OK to that. Now let's go back to the taskbar. We'll close this, close this, close this. You see how it has this little up arrow in the taskbar? That goes to show that there's some hidden icons there. So I want to turn those icons on. So if I right click on it and I click on taskbar settings, select which icons appear on the taskbar, click on this button here, brings up another menu. Now by default it only has certain ones turned on. I'm going to go ahead and turn this main button on, and now all of the possible background applications appear on the taskbar for me. Some network adapters have an issue because they made Windows 10 operate very efficiently in terms of shutdown and startup. So if you have mapped network drives and you do a restart, more times than not, depending on the network drive type and your network adapter type, once it restarts, you'll find that you have lost a hard connection to the network drives. They will still be there, but instead of looking clean like these other drives do, right? And let me go ahead and see if I can map one so I can show you what I mean. If I click on computer, map network drive again, let me just pick a letter here like X. I do a browse. Now, this is why I needed the SMB1 before, because in order for this to find my network drives, I would need to have that properly set. You know what it is? I forgot to restart because it does not have SMB1 enabled right now. As you recall, I chose not to restart before. So let me restart now. The screen may black out when I do that, but I need to restart the system. And there we go. Okay. And we're back. Let me go back and map that network drive now. Click on this computer, then I'll click on computer. I'll click on map network drive. Oops, lost that. Map network drive again. I'll go with the X again, // LSnet4, and just hit enter. Still doesn't find it. Let me put a backslash on the end of that. Still doesn't find it. Cancel the diagnostic. Oh, now it shows. If I click on, notice how it suddenly showed up on the search. It took a while for it to find it, I guess. And now it shows my actual NAS server, LSnet4. And now I can see all the shares that that server has. And I have shares for each member of the household and shares for certain types of key functions. I'm going to go ahead and map to my system share, which has a lot of my software and utilities on it. And I'm just going to leave it there for now. And make it, that be the starting point for the actual mapped drive that I have here. But let me change it to S, because I usually use S for my system share. That way I can remember which one it is, no matter which computer on my network that I use. So now I say finish. I'll let this one, I'll leave it as reconnect at sign up. And boom, we now have a share, a mapped share to my NAS. Okay, system on LSnet4 as drive S here. Leave it open for now. And as you can see, it shows up here. Now, the change I was going to show you was making sure that the adapter was not getting out of timing sync with the startup. Now, it's unlikely with this particular computer because it has a slow hard drive. The timing is probably much slower than would lead to that race condition that could cause that problem. But let me go ahead and check it anyway. If I go to Manage under this PC, I right-click and say Manage. And what I want here is to pick the Device Manager. This is a good place to go anyway to check to see if you have any devices that did not connect properly with Windows 10. So I click on Device Manager. If you saw any question marks on any of these devices, and it's usually a red question mark or an orange question mark, then you have a problem you may have to address. Maybe you have to install another driver that Windows itself did not automatically install. But I want to go to the actual network adapters. I should only have one, my Realtek PCI network adapter. That's an add-on card that exists on this particular computer. Click on that, and then it opens up the details of that network controller. Now what I want to do, advanced, it is advanced. And in advanced, down at the bottom, there's one that says wait for link. This particular one does not have that, so it's not going to be a problem. Onboard video adapters may have that. Both of my other computers that this was a problem on, they both were using the onboard, so we're okay with this. But most of these are, if you click on, just by, as an example, if I click on Wake on Magic Packet, I want to get into the details that are here. You have two choices. By default, it's enabled, but you can disable it. So in the case of the one that I was referring to, this wait for link, it would have been disabled by default, and you want to click at enable and then say OK. When this problem happens, let's close this out, then when you do a restart, then this particular, and your shares as a whole, all of them across the network, suddenly have X's on them. Now they're still there, and if you then click on it, it will open it, but it requires an extra step. And if you have something like, Outlook email, which I use, then, and if you run Outlook email before you've gone in to my computer and opened up the window for the share, then you'll get an error with Outlook. It won't come up properly. And it's quite annoying. It's not an unrecoverable error, but it's annoying, and you then have to try again after you go and click on my computer and get the network share opened. I mentioned before the Bellark Advisor, that software. I won't run it now, but it is available freely on the internet. Just do a Google on Bellark Advisor, and you should be able to find it. I believe it's from Europe, but it's a safe program, and it's used quite often. In my install, I have all of my different software that I'm going to install at various times to different computers. So that's what I use the install share for. Automatic recovery. Let's turn that off. So if we go to System, first control panel, then we go to System here, and then we go to Advanced System Settings right here, and then we go to Startup and Recovery Settings. So Startup and Recovery, this category. Under System Failure, we got Automatic Restart. We do not want it to automatic restart. You should let it so that you manually have to click a button for it to restart. So I'm going to turn that off. And once that's off, I can then say OK, and then that option is now set. And if you do have a system crash, blue screen, whatever, then you will have the advantage of seeing what it is, and you could write it down, maybe take a picture of it. I doubt you'll be able to do a screen capture of it because your computer is not in a state to save that. But at least a regular photo would do. And if you contact support, or if you have somebody who's providing maintenance to your system, you can send them that, and they may have a better idea of what's going on.